Welcome everyone, and bienvenidos. My name is Carrie Castro. I'm an attorney. I graduated from Valparaiso School of Law in 2005. I'm a candidate for judge of the Lake Station City Court. As your judge, I will see that all persons who come before the court will be treated fairly. And those who decide to go to trial, I will assure that they get a fair trial. With respect to sentencing, each case is treated by the facts within the case. Jail time may be appropriate in some cases, and jail time may not be appropriate in some cases. In some cases, there may be rehabilitation. I'm a firm believer of rehabilitation in some cases. You have to take into consideration many different factors: overcrowding of jails, the cost of maintaining those offenders in the jail system, the cost to taxpayers. So I would think that in those cases where jail time is not appropriate, we could do alternate punishment, such as, for example, scram bracelets in cases of maybe drug abuse, alcohol, domestic violence. We could also use GPS tracking system. Those are the ankle bracelets also, and I have issued one of those in one of the court hearings that I've presided over. Sentencing, again, all depends on the case at hand. Excuse me. Bottom line, I'm going to do whatever is possible under the law to correct the situations that come before me as judge if I'm elected, and to make Lake Station a safer community. We all want to live in a safer community. Regarding my experience, I believe I am well qualified and I have the experience to serve as judge. I was a staff attorney for Indiana Legal Services, that's legal aid, and in that capacity I served people who could not afford an attorney in many different cases, civil cases. I was a Lake County deputy prosecutor. I prosecuted cases in the Lake County Superior Courts, Crown Point City Courts, Maryville Town Court, Gary City Court, Hobart City Court, and the Lake Station City Court. In fact, Lake Station was my first assignment as a new prosecutor. It was over at the corner of, in the old building, Ripley and Central Avenue. That's where I started, and look where I'm at now. I would have never thought, as I sat as prosecutor, I would be running for judge someday in the city of Lake Station. I've served as Judge Pro Tem for the City of Gary. I still serve as Judge Pro Tem when needed in the City of Gary. I've served as Judge Pro Tem for the City of Lake Station from August through January under Chris Anderson. I'm a hearing officer for the Gary Civil Service Police Commission. I hear cases involving affairs that deal with the police department. I have my private practice. It's called the Law Office of Carrie Castro, and within my practice, I work in the areas of tax law, state and federal. That would be the Indiana Department of Revenue and the IRS. I also litigate in state court and federal court, and practice criminal law in state and federal court. I was once a court-appointed public defender for federal defendants in federal court. I'm also knowledgeable in family law, juvenile law, probate, real estate, and contracts. I've defended people, I've prosecuted people, I've sat as judge in different capacities. I strongly and firmly believe that I am qualified to serve as your judge, and I do believe that the experience I have is necessary to serve in that capacity. With respect to the court, I respect the court staff. I work with them as I sat as Judge Pro Tem in the Lake Station City Court. I will work to transition into the court. They are the ones who know the system. They are the ones that do the work day in and day out. I would come in and ask for guidance. And then, of course, being the judge, once all of that was done, then I could make decisions as to the direction of the court. And I will do so judiciously. I will take into consideration the taxpayer dollar, as well as the balance that must be made with the cases that come in. I would make no major changes to the court without first looking at the situation on the whole and balancing. Is that my time?
Yeah, could you?
Okay. Time is up?
We'll wrap it up.
Okay, all right. Personally, I have a couple more things today, but personally, I'm 55 years old. I have 4 daughters, 2 grandchildren. I live in Lake Station. I'm very fulfilled with my job as an attorney, a judicial officer, and the work I do within my practice, both in all areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Josh Matejczyk, and I'm running to serve as your next judge of the Lake Station City Court. I believe that in order to serve a community, you must be an active and committed member to that community. To show my commitment to the city of Lake Station, I purchased a home off of Union Street, and I'm making Lake Station my hometown while raising my family here and maintaining my law practice here. I believe that the Lake Station City Court should first and foremost serve the people of our community, be it by protecting victims or society as a whole from those who would cause harm, or by allowing those who have been accused of crimes to confront their accusers. The court must provide an impartial forum that seeks what is right and just for both the individual and the community. To this end, there are several key areas that I believe the court can and should provide enhanced services to better meet the needs of our community. First, the court must work and maintain a strict budget. Our city has enough financial problems as it is right now. The city court doesn't need to be a drain on those already limited resources. Under my leadership, the city court will strive to be self-sufficient, operating primarily from those funds that the court brings in on its own. Next, I will re-implement the attendance court originally begun under Judge Chris Anderson. The attendance court works hand in hand with school officials, students, and parents to find the root of each individual student's attendance issues and work with that student to correct those issues and ensure the student's attendance improves. Third, I will work to implement a local small claims court in Lake Station. This would allow local businesses and individuals to seek redress of civil issues they may have without having to leave our community. In addition, a small claims court would assist in generating additional revenue, both for the court and the city as a whole, through filing fees that would be assessed on each case. Finally, I work to implement a local probation department to allow more direct oversight of individuals who may have probation as a part of their sentence. This would permit those individuals to address any compliance issues they may have with their sentence more effectively and on a direct local level. A probation department also allows the court to offer an expanded array of alternative sentencing programs such as addiction counseling and rehabilitation services, something that I'm quite passionate about in my own practice. With these goals in mind, we would look towards the future. We won't be burdened by any issues of the past, but rather become part of that change that our city seeks so desperately. Thank you.
Ms. Castro, both of you have you have good backgrounds, obviously lawyers and legal, but could you point to 2 specific areas in your background that you feel qualify you to serve the citizens of Lake Station?
I would say that it is my experience. I truly believe that when you get out of law school, you jump into the law. You have to learn from actually practicing law in different capacities. I have my own office. I've worked in different areas, and I've also sat as judge for the past 2 years, City of Gary Civil Service Police Commission, and also the City of Lake Station, the Lake Station City Court. I believe all of that is solid. I have that solid. I'm a reader. I write. I like to learn. My children are grown up out of the house, so I devote all of my time to the work that I do for people that I work for and the areas that I work in. So I believe that that experience that I have is a solid foundation for being a judge and serving the citizens of Lake Station as their city court judge.
Okay, great, thank you. Mr. Matejczyk, did I say that correctly?
Yes. Yeah, that was correct. Good job.
Okay.
Same question?
Same question, yeah, if you could.
Absolutely. Just to pick 2. I've also served as Judge Pro Tem on numerous occasions, both here and in Maryville on occasion. So I have sat for Judge Chris Anderson multiple times. The other aspect of my experience that I think kind of uniquely qualifies me is I was a court clerk and a bailiff for just shy of 5 years. During that time, I worked directly under the court administrator in Maryville. And I have experienced kind of on the back end, the less glamorous aspects of the job, you might say. Making sure the court staff is all working efficiently, managing a budget, managing incoming money and bonds, all things of that nature. So I would say that gives me a kind of a unique perspective, experience-wise in the position.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Ms. Castro, how long have you actually lived in the community, and have you been involved in any organizations or volunteer organizations in any way?
I've lived in Lake Station coming up on a year. I have not gotten involved in any organizations. I spend a lot of time with my work. I do a lot of pro bono work, and that's for people who cannot afford an attorney. So any extra time I have, I dedicate it to those type of cases because there are so many people out there that need that. Candidates for judge are governed by the Code of Judicial Conduct. We cannot, we're more or less, once we become judge, we're kind of isolated because we can't take sides or comment on issues. It's important for us to remain impartial. So you will not see me out there supporting, and I don't want this to sound negative, but I'm not out there supporting any one issue or any one side because it's important that that judge in your court is impartial. When people come before the court, it is true, justice is blind. People are treated fairly. I love Lake Station, the place that I live. I rent, it's an upstairs apartment. The people downstairs are wonderful. I love the place. It suits me fine. My children are grown. I don't need a big house. And I plan on staying there. I go to church there, I live in the community. I'm very, very content where I'm at.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Matejczyk.
Would you mind repeating the question?
Yeah, how long have you lived in Lake Station? And have you been involved in the community, in any of the organizations, in any volunteer type community activities, whatever they may be?
We've lived here probably somewhere between a year and a half and 2 years. I don't recall the exact date we moved in. We purchased our house at the end of August of 2014, though. Before that, we rented and moved around a little bit. In terms of community involvement, I'm quite actively involved with the VFW. I'm not a member there, unfortunately, but I try to commit as much time to volunteer there as I can. I'm very passionate about veterans issues and supporting veterans, so I try to give as much of my time there as I can. I'm also actively involved with our church in Lake Station, Community Presbyterian. It's a small, very small congregation, but we're trying to help them kind of rebuild a little bit.
Oh, that's interesting. One last question, if you don't mind. It's kind of, is there anything particular to Lake Station that you feel makes it unique in our town and relative to your experience in other areas? And how would you address any of that?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Anything relative to the court systems, how we, anything about the city courts as they are today that is unique for Lake Station, or do you feel it's just the same for as any other court?
The city court, the cases that come before the city court are criminal misdemeanors, ordinance violations, and traffic citations. And there are a lot of cases that come before the court, and each case is very, very different. I think something, and I don't know if this is answering your question, but I think something unique to the court, I think it's one of the only courts that takes payments on fines and all. It also has an outreach program, which is called the Truancy Court Program, and I think that's unique to Lake Station. That program is on hold right now. I spoke to the director recently. As soon as we get a new judge in, we're going to bring that back. That's a very good program to have. I think the court can do something else that's very unique, and I'd like to do that, is to reach out to the children at the schools, because we can do that. It's going out to the schools to teach the children about the judicial system, the respect for the courts, respect for themselves, for their friends, their family, and I think that may go a long way to maybe warding off some of this stuff that's going on. Good guidance, you're a product of your environment, and I think that even though some programs are not in the court right now, we can strive to do more and to reach out. And as far as the community, I find that people are just wonderful and they're all close and friendly. As far as the people that I've come across, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
In terms of the court specifically, I think one of the biggest things that sets Lake Station apart is you don't have people coming through the court that are hardened criminals. You're not having people who you clearly deserve to be locked away forever or put away for an extended period of time. You have a lot of people come through there that have made a mistake, and that's really what it adds up to. They did something that was wrong, and they recognize that it's wrong most of the time. But you're not dealing with a lot of really hardened criminals that have a black heart of a sort. And the community as a whole, when I was real young, my family moved around a lot, and I've never lived in a community that's nearly as close knit as this. We've met more nice people. We've had more fun here. It's just been, the community is so close knit, and everyone is so nice and gets along so well. It's really a blessing to see, and it's truly a community. I feel like when I have children, we want them to stay here and raise them here.
Okay, great. Well, I think that would probably conclude our judges session. I know there's a lot you want to talk about, so we invite you and everyone afterward to stick around if there's more questions. Again, I apologize, we're on a tight timetable, but we appreciate you being up here.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.